All right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah, Kwadash, Laiwalam Yum. Double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, the ones out there who are doing this work diligently and chiefly keeping the faith, making your calling and your election sure. I'm going to get right into it now. This is going to be a quick little reading on a few verses in Proverbs chapter 2. Hopefully this is edifying. This is Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, "My child," and I'm going to read it in the NLT. You can read it in the KJV to the right. It says, Proverbs 2 and 1, "My child, listen to what I say and treasure my commands." Verse 2, "Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. Search for them as you would for silver. Seek them like hidden treasures." So we suppose to constantly seek for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding like hidden treasures. Okay? Constantly. Kind of like the parable in Matthew when the Lord said, the merchant found a costly pearl. Right, and that merchant, what did the merchant do? The merchant went and sold all he had to purchase that pearl, and to keep that pearl sacred and close. And that's this truth, man. You cannot forget this truth. You got to constantly seek after this truth day in and day out, because by you seeking after the truth, seeking, after wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that's ultimately you seeking after the Lord, man. Because you seeking after the Lord. This is Proverbs 3 and 14. It says, "For wisdom is more profitable than silver, and her wages are better than gold." Verse 15, "Wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her." Nothing in this world can compare to wisdom, can compare to the joy that wisdom brings. Imagine when you first came into this truth, the joy you felt, waking up, realizing you're an Israelite, realizing that, there's only one true God, and that God is the power of Israel. That's a beautiful thing, Proverbs 8 and 18, "I have riches and honor, as well as enduring wealth and justice." Verse 19, "My gifts are better than gold, even the purest gold. My wages better than sterling silver." You see? Why? Because by you dwelling within this truth, all the way up until the end, ultimately you was part of the elect, and you're gonna get, you're gonna take part in that new covenant on the first go around. Proverbs 16 and 16, "How much better to get wisdom than gold, and good judgment than silver." Proverbs 23 and 23, "Get the truth and never sell it. Also get wisdom, discipline, and good judgment." You see? So seeking for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding up until Yahweh Shai come is a blessing, really. That's a blessing because it keeps you away from the evil one, the wicked one. Also, it keeps you in order, right? Not falling susceptible. It keeps you from falling susceptible to your own flesh, right? To the wicked fleshly thoughts that come upon you. No matter what it is, man, the Lord allows us to have a way out via this truth. You don't have to fall susceptible to your flesh all the time. You can seek out the wisdom. Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 5, it says, "Then you will understand what it means to fear the Lord, and you will gain knowledge of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai," right? So you got to first fear the Lord in order to get the wisdom, right? What's that? Sirach or Ecclesiastes, verse 19. I'm going to start at verse 18. It says, I can start at 18. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love." You see? So first off, in order to get wisdom, you got to first fear the Lord. That's the first step to obtain wisdom, right? Verse 19, it says, "The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do these things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality." So by us doing the things that please the Lord on this side, we're going to be able to what? Get the kingdom of heaven first. We're going to be able to live forever first, man. Right? Lord willing, I'm a part of that number. Hopefully I'm a part of the elect, man. That's why I try my hardest to give diligence to make my calling and my election sure. Through repenting, through praying, through, camping, through being a brother, whatever it is, man. I hope and pray the Lord show mercy upon me and my family, man. I want to take part in the immortality on the first go around. This is Sirach chapter 19, verse 20. It says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. You see? So fearing the Lord is wisdom. Right? You got fear of the Lord, man. You got some wisdom. You know that the Lord kills. You know that the Lord makes alive. The Lord is the one that wounds and that heals, man. All right? By you knowing that and fearing that, that's a great step, that you're on. You have faith. Because you cannot get fear. You cannot get wisdom unless you ultimately have faith. Faith. You have to have faith that the Lord exists. You have to have faith that the Lord is the one doing all this killing, right? Doing all of the rebirths and things like that. You got to have faith that the Lord exists and he's doing that, right? You got to have faith in the Lord in order to fear him. This is Proverbs 2 and 5. It says, then, verse 6, it says, for the Lord grants wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding, right? And who's the mouthpiece of the Lord? The prophets, right? Hebrews 1 and 1. Let me grab that. The Lord spoke to the people by the mouth of the prophets, man. Okay, Hebrews 1 and 1. It says, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spoke in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. You see? So the Lord speaks to the people by the prophets. The Lord tells the people what he like. The Lord tells the people what he don't like through the mouth of the prophets, man. Okay? And you could back that up with Jeremiah 44 and verse 4. All right? So Proverbs 2 and 6 says, for the Lord grants wisdom from his mouth and come knowledge and understanding. Verse 7, he grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. He is a shield to those who walk with integrity. You see? He the one that allows you to think quickly when situations arise. He give you that solution so that way you can get out of any situation that you're a part of, man. That's that first thought that come to your mind, to tell you don't. Let's say you have to do something wicked. That first thought that come to your mind to tell you, you don't supposed to be doing this, or that's wrong. That's the Lord, man, utilizing this truth, utilizing wisdom to reach out to you and give you a better option before you turn down that wicked path, man, before you do that thing that may put you to death. Because we know that the wages of sin is death, So you keep sinning, you keep occupying in sin, the result of that is death. So you got to change. We all constantly changing day by day, man, being better than yesterday. This is Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 8. It says, he guards the paths of the just and protects those who are faithful to him. You see, it's all about the faith, man. Do you have faith that the Lord will protect you? Right? Do you have faith in his truth? This is Psalms 1 and 6. It says, for the Lord watches over the path of the godly, but the path of the wicked leads to destruction. You see? Psalms... Did I say Proverbs 1 and 6? I meant to say, if I said Proverbs 1 and 6, I meant to say Psalms 1 and 6, right? But just for clarity, I'm going to read it again. Psalms 1 and 6, for the Lord watches over the path of the godly, but the path of the wicked leads to destruction. Psalms 23 and 3, he renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringeth honor to his name, right? By you dwelling within his truth all the way up until the end, that's glorifying Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. That's glorifying, that's bringing honor to the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. This is Psalms 121 verse 5. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord stands beside you as your protective shade. Do you know how much death and destruction happens on a day-to-day basis, but the Lord still have you here. If you're still here, you're still able to move around. You're still able to have all of your limbs. You're still able to eat. You're still able to function. That's the Lord keeping you, functioning, man. All right? It's nothing else. We don't have nothing else. All right? This is Psalms 121, verse 7. The Lord keeps you from all harm and watches over your life. This is why, we're able to get in situations and the Lord deliver us out of it. Angels encamp around those that fear the Lord. The scriptures let us know that, man. This is Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, then you will understand what is right, just, and fair, and you will find the right way to go. Right, because the sheep hear the lamb's voice, right? The sheep hear the shepherd's voice, should I say. The lamb, the shepherd, that's talking about Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the lamb. Yahweh Shai is the shepherd. And what did Yahweh Shai say in the context of him being the shepherd and his sheep, being the Israelites? He said what? His lamb, which are the elect in his time, his sheep, shall hear his voice, and another they will not follow, man. So by you following Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai is leading you to life. He's leading us to life. Proverbs chapter 2 and verse 10, it says, for wisdom will enter your heart, meaning your mind, and knowledge will fill you with joy. Right? We got the prophecies now. Yeah, it's messed up right now. Yeah, we're in captivity, but guess what? We got a future. We got a vision now. The scripture says, where there's no vision, the people perish. Well, we got a vision now. So the people is not going to perish. They're not going to perish. Proverbs 2 and 11, wise choices will watch over you. Understanding will keep you safe. Okay? Verse 12, wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. Right? The wicked, they constantly set up laws in place, constantly say words against us, but the Lord is going to sustain his people, man. Proverbs 2 and 13, these men turn from the right way to walk down dark paths. You got wicked Israelites who heard this truth, right? And they stopped doing the work. They started scoffing. They started teaching false doctrines, right? That's them walking on wicked paths, wrong paths, right? But they had a taste of this truth. When Yahweh Shai returned back, right, he's going to put a lot of awakened Israelites to death, okay, because they're wicked. They work wickedness. They walk down crooked paths. And if you work wickedness, the scripture says what? You reap what you sow. Proverbs 2 and 14, they take pleasure in doing wrong, and they enjoy the twisted ways of evil. You see, these people love evil, man. They love it. They love their demons. It's our job to stay far away from these people, man. Proverbs 2 and 15, their actions are crooked and their ways are wrong. And that's everybody following Esau, Edom. Verse 16, wisdom will save you from the immoral woman, from the seductive words of the promiscuous woman. Right? And this referring to the different philosophies and false doctrines and teachings that are out there, right? The democracy and things like that. Also, you can correlate this to actual women. Because, hey, these women lie, man. They're promiscuous. They'll catch you up. You'll smash them in their house and the husband come home. Now he put both of y'all to death. You never knew she was married. You got to pay attention, man, and watch these women, man. They're wicked, and they have their own agendas. A righteous woman, her agenda will be to satisfy her husband. Her agenda will be to tend to her husband. That's a righteous woman, and you really can't find those, man. Out of 1,000, King Solomon said he found none. Right? This is Proverbs 2 and 17. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. You see? That's what these women do, man, on a day-to-day basis. They will, listen, man, that's why you don't give a woman liberty to gather abroad. She's supposed to be in a house, because they'll find, the devil just use them to be vessels of wickedness, man. They'll find any moment to commit adultery on their husbands. That's why you give the water no passage. Like it says in Sirach chapter 25. This is Proverbs chapter 2, verse 17. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. Verse 18, entering into her house leads to death. It is the road to the grave. You can't make this up, man. You enter into a married woman's house, man, you have entered into a grave. You have entered in what is the word? It's another word just slipping my mind. But you have entered into a tomb, man. You enter into a married woman's house because you can't stop the jealousy of a man, right? This is Proverbs 2:20. Follow the steps of good men instead, and stay on the paths of righteous, or stay on the paths of the righteous. Verse 21, for only the godly will live in the land, and those with integrity will remain in it, right? So the elect are going to remain, man. These other nations are going to go into captivity. 2/3 of our people will be put to death. They're going to be brought back through the loins of the elect in the kingdom, man, right? But only the elect are going to remain after the smoke clears. Verse 22, it says, but the wicked will be removed from the land, and the treacherous will be uprooted. So the Lord is going to uproot the wicked by blowing up America, all 5,000 miles of America, with nuclear missile fire, man. So, hopefully this is edifying. I'm not going to draw it out. I'm going to end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakak, Wadash, Laiwalam Yum. Double honors once again to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom once again to the elect.